Am I the a-hole for not thinking my daughter needs to be in special education? Around mid-November, my husband, 33 male, got a job across the country and we had to move. My 30 female daughter, 8 female, has a very, she's 30 and the daughter is 8, has a very rare genetic condition. One of the main issues she has is her blood sugar will drop rapidly and she gets lightheaded and nauseous and sometimes she passes out. We worked with doctors and specialists for years, and she is currently on a couple of different medications to help alleviate symptoms. Her doctors also advise her to eat a small, healthy snack every 1.5 hours to keep her blood sugar up. She's had this plan for about 3 years now, and this wasn't the problem at her old school. She has a watch that buzzes every 1.5 hours, and she would quietly pull out her snack and eat it. We've never needed an IEP or 504 plan at our old school because they didn't see it as a big deal enough to put it in writing. However, this has not been the case at her new school. At the beginning of the year, I explained to the school nurse and Mrs. K about my daughter's needs, and they told me that it would be fine and we wouldn't have to have a 504 because we didn't have one in her last school. According to my daughter, on her first day of school, she went to pull out a snack and Mrs. K told her she wasn't allowed to eat in class. About an hour goes by and my daughter gets dizzy and nauseous, so she stands to ask to go to the nurse, but throws up all over her desk and workbook. I'm called to pick her up because she had gotten sick, and I was told by the nurse and Mrs. K that she was being allowed to eat in class, and she told me otherwise. The next morning, I go in and set up a 504 plan, as well as bring a doctor's note stating that she must eat every 1.5 hours. At the meeting, I was told that she would be allowed to eat in class quietly. It's been a constant struggle since. After the first week, the students were upset that she could eat and they couldn't, so she was told she had to go to the nurse's office every time she had to have a snack as to not distract the other students. I didn't know this until school let out for winter break, and I'm not happy she's missing out on class time every day. At the end of our semester parent-teacher conference, Mrs. K suggested she be moved to the special education classroom. To the special education classroom. Mrs. K thinks she needs to be moved due to her accommodation of needing to eat snacks. She is currently in an advanced class and is learning 3rd and 4th grade material and doesn't have any issues with the material she's being given. There is nothing wrong with special education for kids who actually need it, but she isn't one of those kids. I told her that the idea that she needs to be moved is completely ridiculous, and her inability to have a simple accommodation in her classroom was mind-boggling. The Mrs. K told me that she was going to recommend my daughter be moved anyway. I ended up telling Mrs. K, grammar fix here. She's insanely ignorant for not allowing a very simple accommodation, and that I felt bad for students in her class with actual needs. I've never had issues with a teacher like this before. Am I the a-hole? So I'm going to say no here. Whether or not it's an inconvenience to the other students isn't the issue here. The issue is the need for an IEP. So an IEP is something that requires specially designed instruction. That's the literal definition of special education. So for a child to be placed in special education, especially, it seems like she'd need to be in there full time. It means, again, a lot of times they just do not understand how IEPs work. So the child doesn't need any special education. The child needs to be able to have an accommodation like having a snack. What I would suggest is that if the parent is okay with it. Again, the kid shouldn't have to disclose their disability, but I'd be curious. We're not, as we meaning me as a family, we're not ashamed or we're big on talking about disabilities in our household, and to the point that, we think that disclosing it is fine. But I know people don't all feel that way. But my big thing is, where's the compassion that's being taught in the class? I would be recommending social emotional learning for these students so they understand not everybody gets the same thing. Not everybody has the same thing. I guarantee there's kids that probably have to leave the class for speech or for other things, and that they need to understand how to include this student in the class. So not the a-hole. What do you think?